Good morning, everyone. Today, it's all about interiors. We're gonna go ahead and clean the leather, we're gonna clean trim, we're gonna clean fabric, we're gonna hit a little bit of glass and a little bit of radio and buttons, and then we're gonna show how to make sure your car doesn't stink down the road. Stay tuned, this is gonna be a good one. First, let's vacuum. So when it comes to leather on this E92 M3, and there's a lot of it, we're gonna use a couple different things. We're gonna use Leather Cleaner Strong. There's also a natural version of this that's gonna be safe for like full aniline. But this leather here, this is what we're gonna use. Now, a common misconception with leather is that it should be shiny, but clean leather is not shiny leather. It should be a matte look. There's a bunch of different types of leather. There's like faux leather nowadays, and this one's gonna be similar to like semi-aniline or Napa leather, which has an actual protective coating over the top, but this product here is gonna be safe to use on this car. Now, this is the liquid we're actually gonna use, and then we're going to use a scrub pad. This is the actual tool that we're gonna use to actually agitate the cleaner. And then after that, we're gonna use a leather wipe to go ahead and remove all of that cleaner and grime. Now, these don't have any sort of dye in them. They are white towels, and that is because when you're cleaning leather, black usually isn't a big deal, but if it's a lighter colored leather, you don't want any of the dye from the towel to transfer into the leather itself. So starting things off, I'm going to actually spray the cleaner into the scrub pad. This allows me to have a lot more control over the overspray. It's not necessarily going to be a bad thing if any of the leather cleaner gets onto plastics that are on the bottom of the seat or the center console, but I just like having as much control as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And because this is a new one, I'm going to go ahead and saturate it pretty well. You want to make sure that the actual product is in the scrub pad itself. And then I'm going to split this up. I'll probably start with this front area here. This area likes to get dirty and trap stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just do circular motions with this. Don't have to be crazy aggressive. We like to have the product do most of the work, not you. It's as easy as that. Then you just take one of your leather wipes and we go ahead and remove it. The reason I'm gonna wipe this up immediately is because you really don't wanna let this product dry on leather. Another thing to consider is sun is a factor. Luckily, this car on the windshield here has ceramic tint, so even though the sun's coming through, this leather is very, very cool. That's something to keep in mind. Do not work in direct sunlight if that's an option. Easy enough. So I want to go ahead and move on to the rest of the seat bottom here. This is pretty saturated now, as you can see. And like I said, circular motions for actually agitating the cleaner. But you know, the thing about seats is it has all these cracks in here. And sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to get down in them. We can go ahead and just stick this down into the crack there, and it works really well. So that is looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and wipe it off. Straight motions. So this car is pretty well maintained, and you can see that it's picking up dirt anyways, just on mostly your high touch points, your shifter, your parking brake here. The next thing we're going to address on this M3 interior is the fabric. Now, the floors are all fabric. There's a couple mats in here, as well as this aftermarket suede or Alcantara style steering wheel. This is going to be the most dirty part of your car's interior. It's something you're always touching, and when there's this material on the steering wheel, it's really hard to keep up with it. So we're going to show you a proper way to deep clean it, and I can mention and just kind of teach you a way to just to maintain that and make sure that it stays nice and soft. To do this, we're going to use a couple products. This is going to be fabric cleaner. It's going to be safe on this. It shouldn't pull out any of the dyes or anything. We're going to use that with this GYEON soft bristle brush. Really nice fibers that shouldn't damage this material. And then we're going to remove it with an interior wipe. And this is going to be kind of the only way to remove the cleaner from this steering wheel. You can't really use an extractor in this circumstance. You can when it comes to your carpets and floor mats, but for the steering wheel, I wouldn't recommend getting any water anywhere near this thing. So to start things off, we're gonna go ahead and spray the fabric cleaner into the brush. Now, I don't want to spray onto here because once again, there's some electrical components in here, there's these buttons. I don't want to risk any sort of liquid damaging any of those things. I'm gonna give it some sprays. That should be enough. And then I'm just gonna work it lightly on the wheel. Mostly gonna hit areas where your hands would be actually touching the wheel. And we're not looking for a ton of suds. You know, this isn't gonna be a lot of products we're using at the moment, and we're just kind of slowly working it around. And we just wanna get this Alcantara material just kind of a little bit damp and then agitate it with the brush. This wheel is already looking a lot better. Don't forget about the backside. Your hands do wrap all the way around when driving it. This has now released all those fibers that were stuck down, and now they're gonna be nice and soft, and it's gonna be great when ripping this car through the canyons. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to the actual wipe. The interior wipe is gonna be a two-sided towel. One side's gonna be a little bit shorter and one side's gonna be longer. And we're gonna go ahead and use this longer side on here. And there's not a ton of actual product that we're pulling off, but we're gonna go ahead and remove what we can with this towel and then let it dry, and it should be good to go. Wasn't too bad. You can see a little bit of dirt. Now, like moving forward down the road with this wheel, once a week, once every 2 weeks, just a little bit of product and leaving this brush in here, maybe in the door, and just hit the spots real quick and just keep it clean, because it's better just to keep a consistent routine and clean more often than cleaning like once every 6 months or so. So if you aren't fortunate enough to have nice new rubberized floor mats, you probably have carpeted ones. Now, those have been around for many, many years, and well, your shoes and dirt and all that stuff gets all over them. Now, how should you go ahead and clean those? There's a couple ways you can do it, and the best way is gonna be actually using an extractor. We do not have one today, but I'm gonna show you a way that you can get it done properly and efficiently and get great results anyways. This is a nice M3 floor mat. It's obviously been used. It could use some love. We're gonna go ahead and just spray the product onto it this time. Then we can agitate it with the brush. Now, you wanna be really cautious about this over here. This stitching is gonna be something that you can damage quite easily, but the rest of this you can be pretty aggressive with. If you find there's a lot of embedded things kind of caught up in the carpet itself, I usually like to work it one direction, and that can remove any sort of hair and then have it all collect to the edge. And then you can do more circular motions to actually really work those fibers. And once again, you're not looking to have this thing just completely soaked. That would be an excessive use of product and a waste of your money. So we just wanted to get it just damp. That's all we're really looking for in this process. And then, like we did on the wheel, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it. And as you can see, all that dirt is being picked up by the towel. But this is looking a lot better now. Now, you don't want to just put this right back in the car, drive off, and get your shoes or boots or whatever you're wearing directly on it while it's still damp. I'm gonna let this sit outside and just dry for a little bit longer, and I'm gonna move on to the passenger side. So in addition to the fabric in the wheel and the floor mats, the actual floor itself is all carpet. And you can use the same exact method, just spraying fabric cleaner on, agitating with a brush and wiping with a towel. I'm always gonna recommend an extractor down here because this is gonna be pretty gross and probably neglected, but just try to stay consistent with it, and that should prevent any sort of dirt buildup or debris, which makes it more difficult to clean down the road. Next thing we're gonna move on to is going to be the trim in here. There's, the dash is plastic. There's a couple bits and pieces in here. The bottom of the door is plastic as well. We're gonna use trim cleaner. This is gonna be safe to use on any sort of plastics. You can use it interior, exterior. Now we're going to use it with the scrub pad again. I went ahead and cleaned out all of the leather cleaner in here. And now we're gonna use it with this product as well as an interior wipe. So it's gonna be a fairly similar process to how we clean the leather. I'm gonna open trim cleaner, then I'm gonna spray it into the tool. And then when there's enough in here, I have this nice cup holder for the product. And then I'm going to go ahead and do circular motions up here on the dash. Now you don't want a ton of product, but we want enough that we're getting nice suds to encapsulate all the dirt and grime on the dash. Now we just repeat that same process on the bottom of the doors and any other areas of the interior that are made of plastic. Now we've cleaned all these materials. Now we're gonna move on to something that's more versatile, and we gotta hit all these buttons, all these door handles, and the glass. Now the inside of the glass is gonna tend to be one of the dirtier spots, especially windshield, when your dash is up here off-gassing. So we're gonna address that as well with interior detailer. This is gonna be a very versatile alcohol-based product that is part of the Purify line. This is going to be safe for every single material that you will find on the interior of a car. With this, once again, interior wipe is going to be the move. So when it comes to using interior detailer, I'm just going to spray it into the interior wipe and then wipe down every surface that I want to hit. Extremely easy to use. I always recommend just having one of these bottles in your car at all times. If you have any sort of spills or anything, this is gonna be a great product to just touch those up. It's also gonna be a product that kills most bacteria, being an alcohol-based product. Though I'm always gonna recommend an actual dedicated glass cleaner, interior detailer is actually very similar to our product glass, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it on these windows. And last but not least, we're going to make sure that all of this absorbent fabric never gets any sort of unwanted smells. This is Odor Remover, and this is going to be the liquid form. We also have these pads. Now, for your bigger areas, probably your headliner and your floor mats and all that, I'm going to use this one. But what I'm going to use these pads for is actually this trunk area. I'm just going to go ahead and rip it open here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick it to this trunk. Now, what this will help is any sort of stinky gym attire, any sort of nasty stuff that you put in here that you don't want to smell, you can just go ahead and peel this backing off. And then this is sticky, so we can put it up here in this inconspicuous spot. And now, this trunk will never have any unpleasant smells. You probably will get a little bit of overspray with this product, but this product won't leave behind any sort of marks or stains. If you're concerned about it, just use interior detailer and touch up any sort of overspray that you see. So with a car like this that's now been properly cleaned inside, just weekly maintenance cleanings should be all that it needs to look perfect for many years to come. But what you can also do is add some protection, which we will get into the episode next week.